So today we're going to show you some examples of combining SQL and Python. Now, SQL stands for Structured Query Language, and Python is a programming language that is used for data analysis. Okay, now what if we combine those? First, we need to install Panda SQL and Pandas into Jupyter Notebook. Now, go to your terminal and install those two by typing in pip install Panda SQL. Okay, now click enter. Next, we need to install the pandas library. So install that. Alright, there we go. Next, we need to go to our Python file and import them. Okay, so Python SQL combo right here. So import them by typing in import Panda SQL as PSQL or PSQL. Okay, then next we need to import pandas as PD. Okay, now after you've imported them, okay, click on run to import those two. Next, we need to use the Amazon dataset to use for our first example. Okay, now we need to read it by defining it first. Okay, so Amazon equals, then we need to equal it to the read CSV function. Okay, so pd dot read slash underscore CSV. Okay, now here inside these parentheses, we need to grab the path name of our dataset, which is the Amazon dataset. So go to the Finder, grab that, okay, then grab the path name right here, then copy paste that. Okay, now next in our next line of code right here, we need to type in our defined value, which is Amazon, to actually show our data. So after that, click on run. Alright, here you'll see the data that we're going to use, right? That contains 10k rows right here. Okay, now for our first example, we want to show the first 5 rows of the data, since there's a lot of data that we are seeing right now. So to do that, we need to use the head function, since the head function is used to grab only 5 rows of the data frame by default. So type in Amazon.head and then parentheses. Next, click on run. Alright, here you can see that it gave us what we wanted, which is 5 rows by default. Now, next, for our next example, we want to have a brief description of a certain column. So let's say we want to describe the temperature column. Okay. Now we need to use the describe function for this one. Now this function gives us the count, the mean, the minimum, the maximum, and all the other ones combined of this certain column, which is temperature. So type in the name of the dataset, which is Amazon, put a period, and then say the column name that we want to get a description from, so which is temperature dot described, to use the describe function. Okay, now click on run. Alright, here you can see that it gave us a description about our temperature. Like I said, it gave us the mean, minimum, and all the other ones right here, if you do need them. Okay, now next example, it's time to grab the data from specific columns. So let's say we want to select only the states and temperature from our data set. So right here, all we need to do is type in our desired value. Let's say we want to call it this one right here, and then we need to equal it to this one, SQL df. Okay, This is just to use SQL and Python. Alright, now inside these parentheses, we need to use our SQL commands, which is so select, since we want to select the state, okay, and then we need to grab the temperature from the Amazon dataset. Okay, now this is only to grab only the different states and temperature. Alright, so next line of code, we want to only grab 5 rows of data. So again, we need to use the head function. So state temp dot head. Okay, now click on run. Alright, here you can see that it gave us 5 rows of the states and temperature instead of all these other columns right here. Okay, alright, next we want to filter the data. So let's say we want to grab all the cities that equal to Louisville, right? So just grab all the cities right here. So in order to do that, we just need to type in our desired value, which is city. Okay, then again type this in SQL df. Now inside these parentheses, we need to use our SQL commands. So we need to select asterisk, which means all. Okay, if you don't know that. And so select all from the dataset Amazon, where the city equal to Louisville. Okay. Alright. Now close that. There we go. Okay. Alright. Now next, to show this whole data set, we need to type in our defined value, which is city. Okay. Now click on run. Alright, here you can see that it grabbed all the cities named Louisville right here. Okay, that is the common factor. And then these obviously are different, but yeah. Okay, now next, what if we want to filter out multiple data? Now, for that, we need to use the AND function. So in this example, we want to grab all the cities called Louisville, just like what we previously did, and all the ocean to equal to 0. So this whole column right here would equal to just zeros, right? So to do that, type in city1, right? psql.sql df. Then we need to select all from the dataset Amazon, where the city, where the city is equal to Louisville. Now we'll use the AND function, and then type in ocean equal to 0. Okay. Alright, in our next line of code, we need to type in city1 to show our results. Now click on run. Alright, here, now you can see that the data has been filtered out. So it gave us all the cities named Louisville and all the ocean that equal to 0. Okay. Alright, next, in our next example, we want to filter some data while grabbing specific amounts. So let's say we want to grab a limit of 10 records with all the Texas states that has a temperature greater than 20. So we need to use the greater than or less than symbols to indicate the ranges of numbers we want to grab, and we want to use the limit function selects. So the limit function is used to select a limited number of records, basically. Okay, so in order to do that, we need to type in, let's say, state equal to PSQL dot SQL df. Okay, now inside these parentheses, again, use the select command from Amazon, where all the states equal to tx, and the temperature is greater than 20. And then of course we want to limit this by just only 10 records, so use the limit function right there. Okay, now close it. Then to show it, we need to type that in, then click on run. Alright, here you can see that it gives us a limit of just 10 records with all the Texas states that have a temperature greater than 20. Alright, now, next example, what if we want to count certain data? Now in this example, we want to count how many of each state there are in this data set. So we need to use the count statement to count them, and then use the group by statement to group it by the states. So type in count to name it count, and then PSQL df, then use the select count. Okay, now we want to count all of them, so type the asterisk in and say state from the Amazon data set, and then group by state, so that we can group it by the state. Then type in count, click on run. Alright, here you go. Now it'll show us all the numbers of each state right here. Alright, that is how to combine Python and SQL. Now if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us and email us.